Salamat for the introduction. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. How are we? So my talk is top 5, and the title is The Christian Ideal Loving God. So when I was doing the preparation for the talk, I find the talk quite comprehensive. Comprehensive in a sense that it deals with a lot of things. So please bear with me when I present the talk to you. Okay, buddy. So as what Brother Ronnie said, my talk is hello. Thanks. Hello. So the coverage of this top 5 is the review and introduction, Christian Ideal Loving God. What it means to love God with all our heart, what it means to love God with all our mind and strength, and some recap and conclusion. The goal is to explain the meaning of the first and greatest commandment and to teach people how they can start to live out this Christian ideal. So the goal of this top 5 is as simple as this one. It's just me explaining or sharing with you the first and greatest commandment, and to teach and present and teach people how they can start to live out the Christian ideal. So here's the review and introduction. I think this was already discussed by Brother Noni. So in module 1, there are 4 talks. There were 4 talks, and it was basically more on presenting the basic truths about Christianity. So it's more of facts and truths. The second module, which is this one, the first talk is the Christian Ideal Loving God, is more of sharing the authentic Christian life. How as Christians we ought to live an authentic Christian life. So Christian ideal, loving God, what this basically means. So to understand this a bit better, we need to step back and understand what ideal means, or why ideal is important to us. It is important precisely because the ideal are important to us because this is the one that moves us. If you don't have ideal, we don't see the future. We don't aspire for something if you don't have ideal. So goals direct our human behavior and plans for life. So this is what I mentioned. So if we don't have goals or ideals, we cannot see ourselves in the future. If we have goals, like when we are at school, we have goals. When we are in the workforce, we also have goals. Because these goals direct our human behavior and our plans for life. So our goals could vary depending on our personal needs. It could be money, it could be position, it could be fame, or it could be something else. As Christians, what should be our ideal? So this is the fundamental basis of this talk. As Christians, what should be our ideal? Would it be to extend good goals, like to make society better, to support the government, to make things in order? Those are examples of good goals. However, as Christians, God wants us to make loving Him our greatest ideal. In fact, He made it into a commandment of highest priority. So let me repeat that. God wants us to make loving Him our greatest ideal, our greatest goal, which will direct our human behavior in plans for life. Not only that He wants that, He made it into a command. It's not a request, it's a command of highest priority. This is it. The Great Commandment. A teacher of, so it's in Mark 12. So a teacher of the law was there who heard the discussion. He saw that Jesus had given the Sadducees a good answer, so he came to him with a question. Which commandment is the most important of all? Jesus replied, the most important one is this. Listen, Israel. The Lord your God is the only Lord. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. To put these things in context, it's against that law. So what happened before this one is Jesus went to the city, and he was explaining or teaching something, and then explaining to the people who are listening to him. And then some learned people, like the Sadducees and other people in the church, were asking him that because they don't know, but asking them to challenge him, to challenge Jesus in front of the people. So, for example, these Sadducees, if we research what are these people, these are the people who believe that these are one of the Jewish sect that denied resurrection of the dead, the existence of spirit, and denied the obligation of oral tradition, emphasizing the acceptance of the written law alone. So this means that when these people ask Jesus, they want him to answer, not based on some oral tradition or some traditions that are not written. They want him to answer him based on what is written, based on the law of Moses. Okay, so this great commandment ended with verse 29, but if you read farther on, it says here, sorry, but I need to go deeper into this great commandment to put context to the entire Torah. So in verse 29, he's mentioned that one. The following verses, he said here, the second is love your neighbor as yourself. So this is the top 6. There is no commandment greater than this. Well said, teacher, the man replied. So he was referring to the teacher of law. So the teacher of law said, well said, teacher, the man. You are right in saying that God is one and there is no other but Him. To love Him with all your heart, with all your understanding, and with all your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself is more important than all burnt offerings and sacrifices. When Jesus saw that he had answered wisely, he said to him, you are not far from the kingdom of God. And from then on, no one dared ask him any more questions. So that's a full context of this chapter. In terms of loving God, there are people express their love of God in many different ways. So example of these are having pious feeling. So that means internal the feeling of being close to God, and some do philanthropic endeavors or like helping the poor or helping other people. Some express their love of God by acts of piety. So this means that you have to be seen as being sort of religious. So that's one of the how people express their love of God. However, these are not incorrect. These are not wrong actions, but they are not adequate expression of loving God. Loving God is more than that. That's why loving God with all your heart is an expression of all those. This expression of the love of God should be based on loving God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your strength. So what it means to love God with all our heart then? The biblical scholars were asking what does heart means during biblical times, which form basis of the writing of this book. So in contemporary understanding, heart means feeling or emotion. When you feel sad, when you feel happy, when you feel love, that's that sort of feeling. It's the contemporary or the current meaning of or understanding of heart in this context is more of a feeling or emotion. In biblical times, it's different. It basically is the seat of intelligence and decision, the mind and the will. The heart being the symbol of the core of man. The heart defines the man. It is who the man is. It includes intelligent thought, will, along with feeling. So in biblical times, it's not just emotion. It's more of the totality of man. The kind of love God requires cannot depend on feelings. So what it means to love God with all your heart is not just a matter of feeling or emotion. The kind of love requires cannot depend on feelings which are changeable, but rather based on a commitment, a decision to love. Hence, to love God with all our heart is to be totally committed to Him. Now, that's big words, right? Imagine, to love God with all your heart is to be totally committed to Him. Totally. It's not partially. It's not 1/2 or 1/4. It's not 75%. It's total commitment to Him. That's quite a big requirement. I mean, to me, that's a big requirement. Commitment to seek the Lord first and foremost. That means putting the Lord first in our life. It requires, so these are the expression of putting the Lord first in our life. Requires decision to obey Him, needs to develop personal relationship with Him, needs to spend regular time with Him. So when we say need to develop personal relationship with Him, that means we have to be close to Him. We have to understand Him. We have to be prayerful. We have to have this personal communication with God. We need to spend regular time with Him. So that of course in the form of prayer or in the form of study. So those three are expressions of how we put the Lord first in our lives. Now, what about to love God with all our mind? God enabled us to think, figure out how to love and serve Him. So God gave us the faculty to think and to figure out how to love and serve Him. It says here, a good mind is not necessarily an intelligent mind, or vice versa. An intelligent mind is not necessarily a good mind. How our mind then can fulfill, how our mind can fulfill its main purpose, which is to love God. We can fulfill the main purpose of our mind by these things. Sorry. So we can fulfill the purpose of our mind by serving Him using our mind. So we can fulfill the main purpose of our mind by serving Him with the use of our mind. Earlier it was about with all our heart, but in this time with all our mind. So as I mentioned, we can fulfill the main purpose of our mind by serving Him with the use of our mind. Using the mind can have incredible consequences to society. So it could, if we want to use our mind properly, it could make peaceful world, or it could be instrumental also to world destruction. So it depends on how we use our mind. But ultimately, what God asks of us is to use our mind properly to serving Him. So how do we love and serve God with our mind? What do you think? This one I need to look at the notes because this I find this very, very important, and I don't want to miss any word. How do we love God and serve? What it means to love God with our mind. By keeping our mind clean and holy, use of mind according to God's truth, keep our minds be free of worries, because God promised to provide us and care for us. Keep our mind preoccupied with the things of God. So when we say keep our mind clean and holy, it means that free of all evil thoughts, free of uncharitable thoughts, away from suspicion, and that can lead to strange relationship. And then the use of mind according to God's truth. So keep our minds free from worry. So at this point in time, when we say we have to love God with all our minds, and then we are worried at times, is that a response to love God with all our mind? I mean, who among us don't have, or who among us is not worrying? Can we raise our right hand if we don't have any experience of worry? So I think each of us worry. Each of us worry. But that is not what God wants us. Because God promised to provide and care for us. So, like example, this is my personal sharing, right? In my line of work, most people worry a lot, and some people go insane because they worry a lot. So, if you don't have proper mindset, or if you don't have God in your life, one may probably go insane because it's just difficult to work out things if you're worrisome. Like for example, because my work, some people. Some people avoid things that will worry them. I think that's a natural tendency of human. It's human nature to avoid as much as possible things that will worry us. But if your work is to look for things that will make a project fail, then that's worrisome in itself. Imagine, instead of avoiding things that will make you worry, you're looking for things that can make the project fail. So it's quite difficult. Sometimes I have to distress myself because I end up looking at the extreme scenarios of a situation. So instead of looking positively about, example, a project, I have to look for the things that can make the project fail. So imagine how difficult is that. In the real sense, it's difficult because those are one of the requirements of my work. So I need to look at things that will make the project fail. It's quite difficult. So, but the good thing about it is when I identify things that can potentially fail the project, then I know how to mitigate, how to address it, which eventually will lead to a successful project. So yeah. What I'm sharing that because I myself talking to you is not free word. So I worry sometimes. My wife worries many times than me, I think. But yeah, I think it's part and parcel of life. But that is not what God wants. God wants us to properly accept things as they are. But He wants us not to worry because God's promise is that He will provide and care for us. So how do we love God and serve? How do we love and serve God in our mind? The other thing is keep your mind preoccupied with the things of God. So this means asking how you can be holy, not just how you can be rich materially. Asking how you can please God and not how you can glorify other men. Next is protect your mind from unholy influences so God can use you for His purpose. I think that's self-explanatory, meaning be very discerning in the use of TV or other media which can expose our mind to inputs not consistent with Christian living. fill our mind with thoughts of God. For example, read the Bible and other helpful Christian literature, which can help form our Christian mind. Next is use your mind actively for God's purpose. So, like for instance, me talking here, I feel that that's actively using my mind to express God's thoughts in this forum. For example, the service team of the CLB, that is, we cannot form this CLB without the use of our mind. So this is a sort of a good example how to actively use our mind in God's purpose.